Ways and means about 20 trillion naira. And I remember how you fought in the ninth Senate.
Yes.
And you have just supported for more borrowing for the federal government. Why so?
Please. The question again.
So I said CBN Ways and Means at 30 trillion naira. And I remember how you fought in the ninth Senate, for it to be passed. But at the moment, you have supported for an increase in more borrowing. Why did you do that?
Well, thank you very much. If you listen to my submission in the Senate, during the last during the ninth Senate, it was a major issue. And part of reasons why it turns to be a major issue was we don't know when this money was borrowed, and we were called upon to only ensure regularization and give it some legal backing from the National Assembly. And that was why it turns to be a major issue during the ninth Senate. And that dovetailed to this current administration. And this current administration has approached the National Assembly in terms of reconstruction and realigning the ways and means. And as we speak, we have exited that ways and means of the previous years that was borrowed by the previous administration. And I want to commend this government who have come out clean before the National Assembly, seeking our approval in terms of amending the existing Act of the Central Bank of Nigeria, among which is certain that the rates to be applied on any new ways and means should be between 5 to 15%. But the Senate, in their wisdom, felt it should not go beyond 10%. And that is why we have amended that act to read between 5 to 10%. And with some proviso that money borrowed this time around will only be meant for infrastructural development and no longer recurrent expenditure. And that is why we have also called on the Committee on Banking to be on the watch out, to look at amount that is borrowed, the repayment plan and the repayment period, and what those funds will be used for. That will go a long way to put the executive on their toes to ensure that money taken under the ways and means will be judiciously applied for things that will affect, among other things, the GDP of this country, and also things that we can see that will be on ground, that people can see that money borrowed under these ways and means under this administration are used for so and so project. And you can see for the first time there's a paradigm shift on our budget. The budget we just passed into law now, the repealing and the reenactment of the 2024 appropriation act, you could see the capital component growing from 9 trillion to about 13 trillion. And that shows part of the commitment of this current administration to ensure that the infrastructural deficit we have in the past is being addressed to. In the area of coastal road, Sokoto Badagry, the Ebonyi, Enugu, Calabar Road, and all of this coming together will reposition to give us a new Nigeria. And the government have not equally been silent on what they are doing concerning ongoing infrastructural development going on across the country. Provisions were made in this particular budget that have just been reenacted for the ongoing project for 2024.
Sir, 1 year after the current administration, it looks as though the government have left the people worse than they met them. And Nigerians are going on.
Yes, I want to say this. That can be true. A lot of reform, a lot of good things that this government have introduced. What are we talking about? We just have a new minimum wage signed into law. We just have the local government autonomy that has just been granted by the Supreme Court. We just have the student loan for students who cannot afford educational system. If we start mentioning it in the numbers, you know that this government has come up with programs and reforms that will turn around the fortune of things. Every country, everybody is susceptible to change. And wherever there is changes, there is bound to be some kind of discomfort here and there. But at the end of the day, at the end of the tunnel, there will be light. And that is what this government is doing. Change is not, and nothing is permanent. Nigeria wants the old guy, they want the old way. And the government, has a new sheriff is in town who is saying, we cannot continue in this direction. We need to reposition ourselves. We need to reposition this country. We need to refocus this country so that we can bring the best out of us as a nation. And that is what this administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing. And it's working. He has done it successfully in Lagos. So to replicate it in Nigeria, I don't think it's going to be a big of a problem. So I'm using this opportunity to call on Nigerians to give this administration more time, to collaborate with this government, to ensure that this government, who is futuristic in nature, achieve its aim and objective in turning around the fortune of this particular country. You can imagine, we have a ways and means of about 30 trillion that nobody can say this and this and this is what it's used for. We now have a government who is coming out clean to tell us we want to go this direction and this is what will be applied. What else does Nigeria need? Nigeria just need to be more focused and more people.
Of that ways and means.
Yes.
I recollect that you were the chairman
Yes.
banking at that time.
Yes.
Finance.
Yes.
And today you have asked the banking committee to step up its oversight.
Because while I was serving as chairman finance, the ways and means is under the purview of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And what does we mean by that? We borrow from Central Bank when there are funding gaps.